and Simon Goodwin. A warm round of applause for him.
Thank you, Peter. We're going to look for somebody to talk about you one of these days. Because you talk about each one of us, and thank you for that really good welcome. I'm very excited to be here today because of each one of you. I believe that my life will not be of any use to anyone if I don't meet someone. And every person that I meet to me is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to sell what I have. So today you're my customers, and we're going to be talking about the product. The product is me. We'll talk about that a little later. I went to an interview once because I didn't like working for Kenji too much. And I don't think working for organizations is very satisfying. And I learned that when you work for organizations, you can get very easily disappointed. Because organizations tend to have a life of their own. The reason they are called organizations is because they have life in them. It's a set of organs that are actually working within a specific environment to produce specific results. And so, because they have a life of their own, when you work for an organization, you can get disappointed. But when you work for a leader, that's the time your life begins to have direction, because the leader is going somewhere. So I went to this interview, and they asked me, tell us who you are in one word. I thought for a little while, and then I said, honest. And they had books open, they were taking notes, and they closed the books, and they said, the interview is over, let's discuss the package. Let's discuss how much we're going to pay you. At the end of that interview, they said, do you have any questions? I said, yes. And I asked them, why did you ask me that one question? And they said, because everywhere we went in the world, this is an Australian multinational. If we did not find an honest person, we lost that business. That is how valuable honesty is to the world. Let me make one comment before we go into the presentation. That Christians do not know what they have. And they do not know how badly the world needs it. And so they're not marketing what they have. They're not marketing what they have. Okay, I hope this works. I think I've done something that's not supposed to be done. So let me do that. And let's see whether this works. Next. We still need the person. Oh, there we go. Okay, so to do the intro, we're going to go through this. I hope you've been an employee at one point or another. And you probably wonder, how does a good employee look like? This is a picture of your best employee. It's a person that is not just things they do, it is the person himself. Personality and character define attitude, the attitude of the person. It's not just degrees, it's not credentials, it's principles, it's values. And Dorothy has just mentioned that. It's a wonderful thing. When we call them values, it's because that's how we calibrate, how we make value. That's how Kengen makes its business. We don't make our business based on strategy. We make our business based on our values. We discovered that that's where the money comes from. It's our value level. It's like you have those things we used to do in physics, where you would put a very big stone on the other side which you can't lift, and then you have some kind of a pivot, and then you get this very long lever and you pull it down. What that thing you're pulling down is your value lever. And it can lift something heavier than you can by yourself. And this is the discovery that I think organizations will need to come to. That if your values are not creating value for you, maybe they have not been embedded in the people that need to practice those values. You can have good values. The values of Kenji, you can Google them. They are on the internet. Professionalism, integrity, safety, And you know, those values, if I don't carry them, if I don't believe in them, if I don't live them, they're useless. So, what attitude do I have towards those values? Okay. It's a commitment rather than committees. It's not the congregate, it is the individual who comes to make the congregation with the rest of the individuals that actually makes the difference. Okay? I've got people who are, I've worked with people who are problem oriented. You can discuss with them on one item, they will keep going back to what the problem is. The problem is, and you know, the problem is, and you make a suggestion, the problem with that solution is, you know, they're always problem oriented. They never solution oriented. Okay? And if you work with those people, you can imagine how much negative energy they bring if you haven't worked with one of them. But it's something that you need to think about. You need people who bring in positive energy, they bring solutions. Okay? And that also depends on the values that they have. So we've got two types of people, and we're meeting the first one now. The kind of people who see opportunities and they use them to nurture. They use them to build things. They use them to farm things. They use them to grow things. Okay? An example in the Bible is Jacob. Jacob knew the father loved good meat, so he decided to grow it in the backyard. Okay? He's a farmer. He takes something, multiplies it, grows it, increases it. Okay? Was the primary interest? And I said before, you work for a person, you'll be happy. I believe Jacob was working for the father. I don't know who else I was working for. Okay? So what's your personal or corporate value creation? Do you realize you're an investment? And you realize somebody wants a return? Okay. The worst employee is the opposite. All things about that person is what they can do. Have you ever met those kind of people? I have 4 degrees. The first one I got from this university, the second one I got from this one, and then after that, this is what I did, and this is what I do. You know, I go to the gym 5 hours a day, and this is how I can. Everything is about them and what they can do. You can imagine how draggy that is. I mean, who does that inspire? It's not what you can do that is so important. It's not your aptitudes. One time we did an exercise and we were to write down how your good employees would look like. And we wrote all those good things, you know, punctual, team spirit, and all those things. And then in the end, we put all of that down. We realized that the attitude things were 85%. The qualifications were only 15% of what made that person useful. An interesting discovery. So the people, these are the kind of people that we call corrupt, that came into the organization to hunt. Their work is to kill and eat. That's what Esau was doing. He didn't care where the next antelope came from. And likely to happen, and happens, the most important time for you to get that meat, you go hunting for it and you don't get it. And then what happens? The blessing is gone by the time you're back. Okay. So this is the worst kind of employee. Make sure that your organization is full of people who work for others, not those who work for themselves. I've worked with people who work for themselves. Even when we were on the desk, you know, they were doing their own thing. They used the computer they were given by the company to do things for themselves. While we sat down and worked for the company, they were doing presentations for the next pitch because they were selling their own products. And they were there being paid by someone else to work for themselves. And I don't know whether you've ever met those kind of people. They're the worst kind of people to work with. They only work for themselves and they get paid by others. They're actually thieves. And I hope you're not one of them. Good to great findings are, in my assessment, 2 things. Number 1, the unique factor and variable that differentiates between good and great companies is the quality and nature of leadership in that company. Quality and nature. Quality and nature. And this is what Jim Collins said. Disciplined people, disciplined thought, and disciplined action are the most likely significant significant factors to determine the company's launch from good to great. All right. Right. Let me honor some people. Why am I honoring some people now? Because I didn't make myself. This is where I came from. God's mercy and grace. Next, my wife. My wife is possibly the person that I focus on most in this world. And this is the first person that I convert in everything I believe in. If I preach to her and she won't get converted, I abandon. Have you ever heard about Start at Home? Or you heard about Start in Jerusalem? Okay. Start at home, try that. Do you know why? Because if she won't help you, you're on your own. Okay, and I've got 3 daughters. 2 of our own and 1 that's adopted. And they're very good help. And they are always our case studies. Okay? If I'm ever going to leave somebody in charge of everything I ever did, it's going to be one of those 3. So I focus on them. And I tell them that everything that I own belongs to them, including myself. Have you ever thought that you will be left in someone's house? The next one is Bishop Kabiru. Bishop Kabiru is my mentor. This man has an education of class 8, the old class 8, not the new one, the old one. But I'm yet to meet a person with the wisdom, integrity, focus, consistency that Bishop Kabiru has. So I honor him everywhere I go. Okay, and the others are my colleagues at Kenji, starting with our former MD, Eddie Joroge. Some of you may know or have worked with him. He's the one that brought this paradigm to us. He said we would like to transform this company from a good one to a great one. That was in the year 2003. It took us 3 years to do the first initial public offer. It took us another couple of years to do the infrastructure bond. It took us another couple of years to transform the company from a focus of just doing power station to doing geothermal. It was a journey. And today, everyone, I think, in Kenya knows that there is something in that journey that has benefited this country. Impact at the national level. So this is what we're going to talk about. Transformation, and Patrick, thank you for covering transformation so well I don't have to talk about this. But let me focus you on 3 words. Transformation is a fundamental requirement that is driven by times, seasons, and the operating environment. If you feel you need to transform without a critical set of parameters that makes it impossible for you to survive without that transformation, then it's not transformation. You will approach it in incremental improvements. But transformation becomes very necessary when you have no other option. It is purpose-driven, it's a necessity, it's for survival. Without it, you're going to get destroyed, you're going to descend into chaos. And that's the verge on which Kenya is. And did you know that's the verge that Africa is on? If we don't do something about this, we have no choice. We did a study 5 years ago, and we discovered that at the rate that students are coming out of the university, and we're already beginning to see it, graduates crossing the border to become Al-Shabaab, in 10 years we said we shall have a natural revolution. It doesn't matter what kind of government we shall have. If we don't create wealth, if we do not create jobs, it's going to come. So we are in that space where we are on the verge of opportunity. And that verge of opportunity is also the verge of danger. And if we do not seize that opportunity now, then we will not have the opportunity to recover. That's why we need transformation. That's why we need transformation. In my view now, we have only this one government. And I do not take it for granted that they call it the Jubilee Alliance. Is it Jubilee what? Jubilee administration. So what that means to me is we either launch into liberty or we launch into bondage, but we have only one opportunity. And it's not a wonder that we found everything that we need to do that in terms of resources at the time that we found it. 6 years ago, we didn't have any oil. Now we do. We didn't have niobium. We didn't have all the minerals that we have. We didn't have geothermal at the scale that we have it now. I'm a drilling engineer by profession. I used to work the machines that drill. And we used to drill the old wells to 900 meters. Then we got a brand new rig and we were so excited we could drill to 2 kilometers. And then we thought we had got to the bottom of the reservoir. And then we bought new rigs because we had a problem with one of the wells, and we went to drill there, and we thought we had found something. And we started drilling to 3 kilometers, found a brand new reservoir underneath the old ones. And then when we found that new reservoir, it launched our prospects in that field from 45 megawatts to 1,000 megawatts in Ocarina. Now, why did that happen? I'm not very sure about why. I'm not very sure about how. But what I know is the opportunity that that has given this country. We can use it to eat and line our pockets. We can use it to pass the benefits to Kenyans. It rises and falls on leadership. Okay? So Kenya's survival demands deliberate transformation. And I believe that you're one of the most important people in driving that, because the reason you're here is because it's needed in you. Okay? So we need to change the mold. The way we make things in the world is that we either take a flat sheet and press it into form, or we take something that is going to become what we want and we melt it and we pour it into a mold. The mold injection process is the most popular manufacturing process, and this is the one that is mostly used. So you make a mold and then you pour something into it and it solidifies in the shape of what you want to come out of that mold. And that form is the mindset. It is the foundation. And therefore, our business and social principles need to be molded in a new form, in a new format.
Ago, having left the banking sector, I ventured into business. I felt that I had had enough of banking and went into business then. I have not regretted, and I don't think I will ever regret having made that decision. From then, we have run that business for the last so many years. And basically, I would just want to quickly say that the business that we've been running has been a work in progress. Challenges that I've experienced over the years have been enormous and encouraging for me. Obviously, we started the business that we run relates to vehicle tracking. What we mean is we have to track your vehicles. We can track petrol station solution. We have petrol station solutions, meaning we are managing wet stock management, gas, remote gas, LPG gas monitoring. We also do, on a side business, we're also doing construction leasing, where we lease equipment like excavators, dump trucks, and all that. And also we are in the process of going into another technology called RFID tagging, which mainly means that we can tag anything in a room and know how much is in there. If you remove it, we know how much has been removed. So we are really in a technological world. Basically, for us, has been a long journey walking this business, this line, and I know the question may raise in our minds is that how do you run a business and still remain ethical and successful? For us, one of the main challenges that we started off with a business that I had no clue of how to start a business, what are the ethical values you must place in. We made mistakes at the beginning. One of the key mistakes we had an auditor who told us for you to get the bank loans, at that time you must make sure you prepare a nice bill of your books so that you get the right figures to the bank to give you the loan. And unfortunately at that time, the mistakes, we had two sets of books. The carry books and of course the bank books. And of course we finally got a bank loan on the basis of the fictitious figures. And obviously then God at that time convicted me because I realized that was the wrong way to go, and I turned around and we sacked that auditor and we ended up saying for going forward we have to do it right, and for the last so many years we've obviously done the right thing. Of course, one of the other mistakes we did at the beginning is double invoicing, where you're giving an invoice so that you have lower values of when you're importing goods. This I'm not saying with a lot of pride, I say it with a lot of humility, because it is through the experiences that it built me up to realize that I need to run my business ethically. We then moved on to, over the years, having run the business for a while, we entered into what is called top 100 businesses, where we were ranked a good number, whereby they ran through the business, and we were able to be awarded the top 100 top 100 successful businesses. It's SMEs. Some years, 2-3 years ago. And as a result of that, the challenge came in that it was a very nice opportunity for KRA to see how do we get more revenue. So they looked at all the lists of the top 100 and they visited everyone in that list. And I was officially visited by those guys, and they went through our books and we were hit with a very big figure. And obviously, while they were there, they of course talked the funny language and told us, brother, you need to, this figure here, we can get it disappear if you only release a certain amount here. I looked us in the face, I said, I want every coin that you think I need to pay that was not paid to be put there. And the reason why we were hit with this tax, a big tax, again, as I said, as we started the business, some of the challenges we had is that we were very ambitious about billing every client that came into our organization. But our debt collection side was very weak. So every month you have to pay KRA tax, which we are not able, even because of cash flow problems, we are not able to meet that obligation. So obviously when we were hit with that tax, we ended up saying, we will work with you guys to pay off every coin that we owe. It has been a long journey, but we are thankful that we've come to a point where we finished paying off that. In fact, we have very good relations with the KRA. At first we feared saying what kind of people will they be. But we've had a very good work with them. We even consult them whenever we have issues or when we are not clear about what KRA talks about in certain sectors or cap rules within the Tax Act. And I just sharing this to show you that these challenges have made who we are today. As a result of that, we know now that some of those KRA officials have become very, found us very unique, and in the process they have even called us in other function fora to actually talk about it. The other challenge we've had in the business, I'm just quickly sharing because I know there was a session here, but we are combining it, is procurement. For the longest time, we entered business hoping to do business and tender all the various, get business from all sectors, even government. We've had, I don't know how many tender documents placed into the box, and out of that I cannot tell you whether we received any official. We've had one or two, and I thank God because this is in the last 3-4 years. Tenders that you see on the newspaper have already been decided. And in some cases you might find genuine, of course we have won government tenders without a bribe. And I'm saying that in confidence that all is not lost, that there is opportunity there. Finally, to come and finalize this, quality management services. What we did once, we had an insurance company telling us we put in tracking devices, but they pushed us down on price. So obviously we went back to China and brought in cheaper product to try and fit in for the customers. Unfortunately, that product was failed, and we had to do a recall, a very expensive thing. For our ethical running of the business, we made a decision that we're going to make a loss by removing those tracking devices that were cheap and replace with new ones at the cost that we're going to bear, just to keep that name and stand as a person of integrity. It cost us, but we, as a result of that, gained, because we got other insurance saying, I think we've heard about your story, we want you to give you more business. I think each and every one of us has a place to play towards bringing change.